Even though October was slightly delayed, here we are. It looks like we've had a nice green candle. It looks like the bubbles are green. And maybe we are seeing the beginning of October. And it shouldn't be any surprise to any of us because we knew that October is usually delayed a little bit and starts probably around the 10th or 11th or maybe even 12th of October. And here we are on the 14th of October and it feels like the sentiment has changed. And we may be seeing the beginning of October. Now, if we are seeing the beginning of October, then my suggestion to you is that you make those last minute tweaks to your portfolio. Now, I made a lot of tweaks to my portfolio today because if we are in October, I think things are going to change. Like the one thing I think is, I think memes are going to run, but I don't think memes are going to have 70 or 80% of the mind share like they've had up until now. And I think other narratives are going to come in, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, if we are in October, and this is the beginning of the October bull market, then our portfolios need to be ready. So I'm going to show you the narratives, I'm going to show you the coins, I'm going to show you what I'm buying, I'm going to show you what I'm selling, I'm going to take a few trades with you live. It's basically a bull market show. So let's have a bull market show then. I see people love the haircut. So yeah, we did a haircut this morning. I see. Thank you. I see there. I see. Is Fefe a bear? Someone says fire Fefe. He's a bear. Ah man, you can't be like that. You can't be bearish when everyone is pumped now for the beginning of October. I mean, how are you bearish when China's under stimulus and you got 22 days left until we probably never ever see this woman ever again?
Unburdened by
what can be?
What can be, unburdened
by what can be.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been.
Okay, 22 days and we never have to see her ever again. If you guys vote the right way, we never have to see her ever again. Anyway, let's get into the show today. Just a reminder for those of you who arrived late, you need to smash the like button. I see we've only got 337 likes. They are going up quickly, I'll give you that, but not fast enough. Also, if you're not already subscribed, you know what to do. Just subscribe. I'm going to bring you lots of alpha the show because I think this may be the beginning of October. And just in case it is, I need to make sure that your portfolios are absolutely ready. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to show you what changes I made. And I made quite a few changes. I did say in the beginning of October, I said on the 4th, I said, look, it's not cancelled. It just hasn't started yet. And today is the first day where it kind of feels like October may actually be here. Now, look, it's just the beginning. And October's only up, let's quickly just refresh, 2.48%. So we can't really say that it's October. But what we can say is that the sentiment is definitely strong. Like we've had the pump. Eugene says he woke up bullish today. Elio said yesterday, he said, hard to describe, but I feel a change. It's a big one. I can feel retail coming soon. No facts, no receipts. Just the vibe, just the feeling from being here for a long time. Cousin Crypto drank too much of the Kool-Aid. He says, dump your girlfriends, leave your wife, say goodbye to the boys. Because if this ain't a bull trap, it's going to be the best or worst 6 months of your lives. Now, look, there is a chance that this may be a bull trap. And the reality is that I await for certain indicators before I make my decision to say whether or not October is completely cancelled. I want to see a few things happen before I rule out the fact that, that this is a bull trap. Number one, I want to see us break the 66,500 level on Bitcoin. The next level that I want to break is actually this level over here, right? So I want to break this trend. So I want to kind of go above the 67,470 because then we officially break out of this downtrend that we've been in through or since March, since the 15th of March when we hit that all-time high. Once that happens, then I'm going to rule out completely that October is cancelled. I'm going to say that October is actually here in full force. It feels like, and I say feels like because it's just sentiment. It feels like the sentiment is very much for crypto. You can see it, I think, probably in the MicroStrategy chart. Like just look at the MicroStrategy chart. This MicroStrategy chart shows us what Wall Street believes in about crypto sentiment, right? And you can see that like MicroStrategy is up. I mean, just look at this since the 9th of September. Have a look at that. Since the 9th of September, MicroStrategy is pretty much doubled. I mean, that just shows you where the sentiment is. Anyway, so that's what I'm thinking. And if it is October, I mean, I think we deserve it because we've been going sideways for, I mean, let me just quickly call up this chart. It's a long time. It's 200 plus days. So we've been going sideways for 228 days. And a lot of people were actually shaken out. A lot of people got shaken out in this sideways chop. And I read this tweet by 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗦. Let me just quickly, this tweet here by 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗦 where he says, the Bitcoin 8-month retail shakeout. There's a saying in Korea, the bus only departs when you get off. And the reason why I like that so much is I can't explain to you how many times I held onto tokens and I held onto tokens and I held onto them. And eventually, I was like, okay, I've got to let these tokens go. And then as soon as I let the tokens go, the bus departed. And so I know exactly what this bus departed narrative is actually all about. I also know that a lot of people get shaken out with October because, they forget that every single year, October only starts around the middle of October. And here we are. So I think the stars, you could say, seem to be aligning. You want to say the stars seem to be aligning. I guess that we can thank China for October because they have had the best stock market run that they've had in, well, I don't know if it's certainly like since what? Look at this. I mean, it's the best stock market week in a long time. China just saw the largest weekly inflow in history. Okay, maybe that's the thing. And remember, as soon as people get rich in China, as soon as there's liquidity in China, that liquidity is going to flow into risk markets and liquid markets. And then I think the other thing which is getting investors to actually be buying is the fact that Trump seems to be very, very, very much ahead in most of the polls for the elections. And like that's people are starting to discount the fact that maybe in 22 days we won't see 𝗙𝗦𝗓𝗏 again. And that would be a very good thing for crypto. That would also be a very good thing for risk markets. I don't actually think that it's only a crypto thing. It's actually a very good thing for risk markets. So that's probably why I think that maybe we can trust this pump. See, the likes are not really working. Do you want to just check that like indicator, Josh? Just have a look and see what's going on with the like indicator. Usually by this time we get like 1,000. So we've got like 599 likes. What's going on here? So if this October thing is real, and I think it is real, but if the October thing is real, one thing that October usually brings is it usually brings a run in the altcoins. And again, this morning, if you look at the altcoins, you can kind of see that the altcoins are green again. And that's usually what October brings. I mean, if you believe in the charts, you've got the MACD on total 3. You got the MACD flip cross bullish after 1 year, and that is a big deal if you actually are looking at those indicators. And this is all happening because remember where we've been. We've been in a situation where we have been playing against ourselves. New retail people aren't here, and the new people in crypto are the ones that have been playing, moving money from one narrative to another. And because the markets were so boring, and because of all the VC scams, then effectively what you got is meme coins stealing all the attention. Because what people said is they said, look, there's no new retail here. It's basically me playing against Josh and 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 and Josh playing against me. That's what this game is actually about now. It's money going from one person to another person in this ecosystem, which was here. And so what people resorted to do was they resorted to going to play the memes. But I do think that market structure is going to change. I do think that if we get an October run, I don't think that memes will go away, and I don't think that memes will die. In fact, I don't even think memes will come down. But I do think that the amount of attention that memes will get won't be as high as when the real tokens actually start to run. I think that when the real tokens actually start to run, people will say, hold on a second, I've got a choice here. I can either make millions of dollars on real coins, or I can make millions of dollars on meme coins. And I think that at that point, when they start running, a lot more people will actually go into altcoins. Now, does that mean that I think the meme coin index is going to go down? No. I think the meme coin index is actually going to go up only. But I think it's going to go up only because new people are going to be coming into crypto. And that's what 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗡𝗧 is saying. He's saying people on crypto Twitter drastically underestimate how dead crypto is outside of Twitter. It's just us here. It's the same 50, 60, 70,000 that watch the shows. People are ripping me off here because I'm Indian. They're not going to be like that. People are being racist because I'm Indian. The same 50, 60, 70,000 people are here every single day watching the show. Every single day, 50, 60, 70,000 people here, and it's us transferring money to one another. But the truth is that when the real bull market starts, and you can see that in March, we had a bit of a bull market. Look what happens to the views. Now, the views represent the number of people in crypto. Now, you can see we are probably at half the number of people in crypto as there were here in March. And the people that are here went to play meme coins because we got so completely bored. But when the people come back, when they see the pumps in the tokens, when they start to come back, then we're going to get runs in all the coins, including meme coins. But I don't think the focus is going to be on meme coins. I think what's going to set off the real altcoin season is actually going to be a Solana season. So I think like we will know that the altcoins start running when Solana pops. And if you look at Solana's actually been moving sideways for 6 months. You look at Solana's price, yeah, okay, we've had like some breakouts and whatever else, but Solana's been moving sideways for 6 months now. And Solana is the prevalent blockchain. It's like, it's the ETH of last cycle, right? It's like, it's the proxy for meme coins. Last cycle, we used to look at ETH as the proxy for meme coins. This cycle, we're not looking at ETH as the proxy for meme coins. ETH is pretty much dead and buried in our eyes, at least. And we are looking to Solana as the, you know, like the altcoin god. The Solana is the altcoin narrative. It's the altcoin chain. Now, what I think is going to happen is at some point, Solana is just going to pop. And when Solana actually pops, that's going to set off a whole lot of domino effects, right? Someone says, run Kapoor's brother. Someone, Top Legend says, run is Indian for sure. I mean, we need to keep this show. What's it when you're not non-racial. So, long story short, I think what's going to happen is at some point Solana is going to pop. We're going to get a pop from like 150 to 170, 176, and then I think what's going to happen is you're going to get a whole lot of dominoes falling. The first domino that's going to fall is the whole Solana ecosystem is going to fall. And so that's why one of the moves that I made today was I started going heavier into the Solana ecosystem. I went and bought things like Radium. I bought myself some more Jita. I've got a lot of Jita and the price is quite high, but I increased my Solana ecosystem positions because I know that when Solana runs, all those ecosystems are the first dominoes that are actually going to fall. Another narrative which may actually start moving is, I mean, I'm sure we've all been watching, but we saw that Sui basically had a run out of nowhere. Okay, so Sui had the run out of nowhere. Now, this is indicative of the shiny layer one from every cycle. Now, why do I say that is because last year, or last cycle, when ETH wasn't running, all of a sudden Solana had a run. And Solana became the shiny object of last cycle. It was like the shiny object of last cycle. You've got the same thing here with Sui. And what you've seen in the last, since August the 11th, is that Sui is up 400% since August the 11th. And so now what you're seeing is that Sui started to take over all the blockchains. I think it took over Near Protocol earlier on. It's taken over DOT. I mean, I don't even know what DOT's still doing there. But a lot of people are starting to question now whether Sui has had too much of a run. And in the short term, possibly maybe Sui has had too much of a run. But you've got to remember two things. The first thing is that the shiny object usually just carries on running. Solana just carried on running. When people said last cycle that Solana was expensive at $70, and I remember that because that's when Sheldon and I took the bet. Do you remember that the bet with me and Sheldon? I landed up shaving his hair, and he ate stinky fish. You guys, you definitely remember that. But I want to remind you that at $70 in the last cycle, everybody kept saying Solana was too expensive. Solana was too expensive. And then it carried on running, and it even got to as high as $262. Now, a lot of that was fake. A lot of that was manipulated. A lot of that was Alameda research. But what I'm trying to show you is you can't fade the shiny object of the cycle. And so with the shiny object of the cycle, there are no fundamentals. Fundamentals are very, very, very detached from technicals, right? People saying, I remember the bet. Let me actually show it to you for those of you that don't remember the bet. There were two bets. One of them is he had to eat the stinky fish. And the other one is that I shaved his hair. You'll remember that. So this we could just go here. Sheldon, Crypto Banter, bet. Let's see if something comes up here. So the first bet, yeah, the first one was he had to watch Stinky Fish. He had to eat Stinky Fish. No, thanks. See, I made him eat the Swedish Stinky Fish. I mean, you laugh, but it wasn't that funny for him at the time.
Very bad for you.
I don't know if you remember that. He lost that bet.
I didn't eat that.
So anyway, let's not digress because we're going to try and keep this high alpha and very, very fast. But basically what I'm trying to say to you is don't fade the shiny object, because when it comes to shiny object syndrome, someone says Stinky Fish reminds me of his wife. I mean, you can't say that on a show like this, man. Man, it's Ninebreaker. Just look at Ninebreaker. It says Stinky Fish reminds me of my wife. I hope it's because she's Swedish and she actually buys Stinky Fish in the supermarket. Anyway, you can't fade the shiny object of the cycle because technicals detach from fundamentals. But in this case, there is a relative comparison, right? So like people can compare SUI and look at it relative to Solana. And that is something that we've got here. So SUI is 25% of Solana's FDV, 4% of the weekly fees, 90% of Solana's TVL, 13% of Solana's weekly DEX volume, and 10% of Sol stablecoin market cap. What Gumshoe says here might actually be right. He says it's probably not the end of the cycle, but on a risk-adjusted return basis, probably right now is not the best time to be buying SUI, even though I do believe that it is the shiny object of the cycle. So, I mean, it's one of my biggest bags at the moment. But I wouldn't be rushing to buy into it. Now, what people who believe that they missed SUI have done is they've gone for Aptos, right? They kind of said, look, we missed SUI. Now we can buy Aptos at half the price of SUI. And so that there's actually this catch-up trade that may actually happen. Now, again, you got to do your own research in terms of whether you think Aptos can catch up to SUI. But I do think that in the short term, there's going to be this trade where people believe that Aptos will catch up to SUI. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a trade in the ByBit trading competition. I'm going to go long Aptos, short SUI, which makes me market movement neutral. And all I'm betting on is I'm betting on the two closing. I'm betting on SUI relative to Aptos going down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually take that trade. I'm going to take Aptos versus SUI. Let me just quickly log in quickly, just make sure that I'm logged into the right account here. Hold on, derivatives, USDT perps. There we go. Okay, so hold on, why is this not working? Aptos, USDT. Let's see if I can quickly trade this. Okay, I will. So, okay, thank you very much for all these alerts. Okay, I wonder if I can actually even trade on this account. Okay, so I'll do it at the end of the show. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Aptos long and I'm going to take a SUI short for exactly the same amount. It's just a trade. It's not. I'm not going to hold it till the end of the cycle. And the reason is all I'm betting on is I'm betting on the fact that the gap between the two will actually close. So here we go. Let's see if I can quickly take that trade. Let's just quickly share screen. So Aptos USDT. I want USDT perpetual. Let's go. Okay. So okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so at $10, I'm going to go long. So I'm going to go long 1,000, which gives me a value of 10,000. So I'm going to buy long Aptos at 10.11. And now to execute that trade, what I've got to do is I've now got to go SUI. I've got to go SUI USDT. Now, again, this is not my long-term belief. My long-term belief is actually that SUI is amazing. But right now, because we're in a trading competition, okay, so now I want to do $10,000 or $10,500. There we go. And I want to sell short. So I want to go short, sell short. There we go. Okay, so now I should be long long Aptos. Did my Aptos order go through? I don't think my... Underneath the order book. Okay, let's show all positions. Okay, so yes, okay, so I should have 2 positions open. If not, we'll open 2 positions by the end of the show. But I should be long Aptos, short Suey. All I'm trying to bet here is I'm betting on the gap between them actually closing. Another one which I think is going to run now because people are going to start looking for the next L1, the next shiny object. I think they're going to go for Say because I think what's going to happen is they're going to say, okay, what ran? Solana. Solana's too much of a high market cap for us. Then, okay, what's the next one? Aptos Sui. And then they're going to look for what was the near protocol of the last cycle. Now, what was the near protocol of the last cycle? In this cycle, that equivalent is actually, I think, in my mind, Say. So I'm going to take a Say position as well. Again, these are all very bullish positions, and I'm betting on the market actually going up. To be honest, I'm only doing this in the ByBit trading competition because this is not my main portfolio, but I am playing a bit of a narrative here. So let's see, let's go spot USDT, and I'm going to take a small position over here. By the way, if you want to join our squad here, I would love it if you did join our squad because the more people that join our squad, the bigger our squad becomes. Right now, we are the biggest English-speaking squad. You just click on this video, and you click on the video over here, and you sign up to ByBit first, and then you sign up to our squad over here, biggest English-speaking squad. You just click on this video. Let's just kill that, and there we go. Okay, so that is what I think is going to happen. So I think it's going to be Solana, Pop, Sui Aptos, the catch-up trade, and then from there it goes into Say. I think Say brings that new narrative, that EVM parallelism. We spoke about parallelism a few shows ago, and that's what I think is always going to happen. So that's what I think is going to happen. Then another thing which I think may happen but hasn't even started, that hasn't actually even started, is this AVAX pump, right? So I believe that there will also be an AVAX pump. And the reason why I think there will be an AVAX pump is not because I think that AVAX is like the best blockchain in the world, and. I just think that now, with all the marketing that's happening around this game, which is called Off the Grid. Okay, now let's quickly talk about what Off the Grid actually is. Off the Grid is it's the new crypto game. It's the new blockchain game. It's powered by a company called 𝗙𝗓𝗙 Games. And they've been working really hard, and they've spent a lot of money building a game called Off the Grid. The grid is I think it's a subnet of Avalanche. Hustle will confirm for us in a sec if it's actually built on a subnet of Avalanche. But the marketing for this game is insane. Absolutely, absolutely insane. It seems like they've got all the right people on board to create an amazing looking game. But more than that, they've got amazing marketing on this game. And you can see like real gaming streamers or actual gaming streamers.
Fire Serpent. And you see a whole list and a whole branch of where that Fire Serpent has gone. That's literally all the game. That's all that it is. You see a gun and you see where it's been, just like the Steam Marketplace. So when you compare it to a Steam Marketplace, it kind of like, okay, I get it. Because it's not like the scam shit that you've seen in the past.
So gaming streamers streaming around Off the Grid. And remember, this game is only actually open in beta at the moment. It's actually not the public launch. It's a soft beta, which everybody's talking about. Now, as Richard says, he says #1 on the Epic Game Store, and he's right. And I think what they seem to have got right is they seem to have built a Web 2 game, but with Web 3 capabilities. So not a crypto game, not like Axie Infinity, but they've built a Web 2 game, a game that's actually fun to play. And then they've built in crypto capabilities. Now, the question is, what will this do to AVAX, but B, to crypto gaming as a whole? Because the reality is all we need to do is crack one crypto game, and then the whole crypto gaming narrative may actually come back. And that's something that I'm very excited about, right? And if we look at valuations of real world games, so EA revealed that Apex Legends Battle Royale earns them $3 billion, or earned them $3 billion in revenue across its 5-year lifespan. You look at Epic Games, the maker of Fortnite, which was valued at $31.5 billion. So if we get this right, there is a big upside for crypto gaming. But the question that I have is this a good thing for crypto gaming, or is this a bad thing for crypto gaming? Let me define the question here, right? If off the grid is so good, then maybe when the off the grid token launches, and I assume that the token will launch pretty soon, then maybe people will say, look, none of the other crypto gaming companies have managed to get this right. There's only one that's getting it half right, and that's off the grid. Let me take all my money, dump all my other gaming shit, and actually land up buying off the grid. That's one option. The other one is to say, hold on, one guy got it right. Maybe more and more people can get it right. So either we get a vampire attack where off the grid launches a token, which by the way, there's no token yet, but there will be a token very soon, in which case it steals everything from all the other games. And they basically say, look, why are we supporting all these other games? What a waste of time. Or people look at the total gaming landscape, and then what they say is, hold on a second. The total gaming landscape, which ones of these are either infrastructure or will actually build a game that will actually have lots and lots and lots of users? Now, you ask me, I think that what's going to happen is exactly what Elio says. He says, I've said for one great game will bring crypto to the world, and then what's going to happen is I think people will start looking at gaming. Now, I don't think it's going to be all gaming. I think it's going to be the gaming infrastructure coins that are actually going to start running. So just because Off the Grid does launches and becomes an amazing game, I don't think that now all of a sudden all these games that have never got traction up until now will almost start running. Will all start running. But I do think people will start having hope for crypto gaming. And when you have hope for an industry, then you buy the picks and shovels in that industry. So it'll be things, I think, and we'll bring Hustle on in a second. It'll be things like Beam, maybe things like Zai, if you want to go like really deep, things like Super. These are the infrastructure plays. But I don't really see a reason for games which have never ever got traction up until this day, all of a sudden to start running and go, oh goodness, Off the Grid launched and people are starting to play with it. Oh, okay, what we should do is we should all now all of a sudden just go and buy all the other games. I think that's what's going to happen. But you know what? I'm not the gamer here. I think what we should do is bring on the gamer. So how are you, Hustle? The love muscle.
Yeah, doing good, Rand. I mean, for my sector specifically, I don't think I've ever been better.
I'm sure. But okay, let's quickly talk about Off the Grid because I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. So first of all, you've played the game, right?
Yeah, I put in too many hours over the last 5 days.
Okay, and how is the game relative to a Fortnite, relative to a, you know, like a big game in real gaming world?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the most fun that I've had playing a overall video game in general since Call of Duty Warzone. And I would say that the game is like a combination of Apex and Warzone put together. It's got the elements of both. I really like it. Like, to me, there's been crypto games over time that I'll hop in for, a couple days and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to touch that again because it's just not quality. This is the type of a game that even my Web 2 friends, I call them Web 2 friends, normies, whatever you want to say, are texting me saying like, hey, I'm hearing about this game. Do you want to play? So like, this is the first real game that is broken into the masses.
Okay, but let me ask you a question because I did a litmus check earlier and I pinged a few friends of mine that are gamers, but they're not in Web3 at all, right? Like I know some people that play video games, but they're not Web3 people or they know nothing about Web3. And I said to them, hey, have you guys been playing this Off the Grid game? They were like, sorry, which game? I was like, Off the Grid. They were like, what? I was like, okay. So I feel that us crypto bros are looking for the thing. But when you break out of crypto world into normie world, I don't think there's as much excitement about Off the Grid yet. Now that may be an opportunity or that may be a delusion inside crypto. But I wonder how many non-crypto native people actually are as excited about Off the Grid as we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's segmented for sure. The one thing we have to remember is the big streamers that are playing it, like the Twitch streamers, the high-level guys that get thousands and thousands of live viewers, they're all on a paid campaign currently. We have to keep that in mind. They are paid to play the game. The one hope you have to have is that the game is good enough to either A, maintain some of these streamers like Shroud, who was in that clip talking about the power of the blockchain technology, and maybe some of these guys stay, and then their audience, what happens with these streamers is typically the streamer plays a game and the audience wants to play the same game. Like they want to do what their favorite streamer's doing. So we just can hope that these people will stick around, or at least a segment of these streamers do, and then their fan base does as well. But you know, it's 50-50. I think for my people that play games that I know from like the Web 2 world, I've gotten multiple text messages like, this game's pretty sick. How are you playing? Let's jump in.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, next question. Do you think that we get off the grid people, the game and the token launching, and then people say, okay, we're going to sell all our other gaming tokens because the other gaming tokens weren't actually able to deliver anything? Or do they say, and buy off the grid? Or do they say, hold on a second, no, let's do something else. Let's buy other crypto games because this gives us hope that we can actually get a good crypto game. Which one is it going to be? Is it going to be people dumping all their gaming tokens and saying, look, 𝗙𝗏𝗡 didn't deliver, PYR didn't deliver, all these things didn't deliver, but there is one that's actually delivering. Let's just sell everything and go to the one that's delivering. Or do you think we get the flip side?
So for me, I mean, I think history, this is different, but I think we're going to see something that rhymes to the previous gaming runs. What happens is, you know, 𝗥𝗡𝗄 was the killer app at first, everything else ran. Then last year, Parallel, the Prime token came out. The game was really hot and it drove the entire gaming market big time. Mavia, while money poured into those main tokens, everything else also did run. So I think once Off the Grid launches its token, which I think will be the catalyst, first of all, I think it's going to launch at a decent multi-billion-dollar valuation would be my prediction based off what we're seeing. And then I think that other gaming coins will have runs because the liquidity is going to say, okay, is this token still have upside with the guns token, or do I need to go into the stuff like you mentioned, like an AVAX, like a Super, like a Beam, the other infrastructure coins that could catch up versus that valuation? So I think we're going to see something similar to what we've seen in the past where other gaming coins will run. But I agree with you. Most people don't have exposure to guns, the token that's coming out. It's been really hard to get your hands on. There's no launch pads doing it, and the nodes were sold privately. So I think people will jump in and FOMO into that token and probably drive up the valuation even higher post-launch. But I think that's good for other gaming coins. You're probably going to see a more explosive pump because of it.
Okay, so because the gaming narrative hasn't really started running yet, or in fact, we're really, really, really early. Like if we're talking about gaming narrative, we're really, really early because if you look at any gaming token, let's just quickly look at some just for fun. So you see Bitcoin's actually jumped, and the reason why Bitcoin jumped, just for those of you who are watching, is because of this. Here we go. I'm quickly going to share it with you guys. You can see China may issue 6 trillion yuan in treasury bonds. In other words, just more and more and more and more stimulus. And that's why Bitcoin now over 65,350. Anyway, let's go back to it. So if I look at like Beam, for example, right? Beam, good infrastructure play in crypto, pretty generic infrastructure play in crypto. Like not much of a move from the low, right? And very, 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 very far from the high. If you look at, I don't know, let's look at 𝗙𝗏𝗡 just because I think it's one that we've spoken about quite a bit. But if you look at this, just look at where it is on the chart, right? So you look at all these gaming tokens, all the gaming tokens have been beaten and haven't risen. So probably that to me says this is probably a good time to be getting into gaming, or at least buying some of the best gaming tokens. Now, the question is, which ones in this list do you like? So you got Beam, you got Immutable, you got Chromia, you got 𝗙, you got Ronin. Obviously, you got Super, Echelon Prime, Vulcan Forged, Uncaged, Nakamoto games. Like there's so many games here. We're not gamers. What would you be putting money in? Would you be putting money into Beam? Do you believe in the infrastructure play? Apparently, they've got like 25 games that are being built on this infrastructure. Would Beam be one of the ones that you look at?
Yeah, so whenever gaming has been hot, Beam is super strong with the market. So that is one that I have at the top of my list. For me, I think Beam and Super right now, to me, are no-brainers. If you want side exposure, that side level exposure to something like Off the Grid, because Off the Grid's built on Avalanche. So Beam is also built using an Avalanche subnet as well. Superverse is official partners with Off the Grid. So those are the two coins right now that have kind of close tie exposure to it in the market currently.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a column here. Sorry, I just had to log in to get a column here, but I'm gonna put is hustle adding hustle the love muscle. Okay, so definitely a yes on Beam. What about immutable?
Honestly, for immutable, in my opinion, it's so hard. They haven't had that hit game, and they've gone through, Illuvium. They've run through a lot of these different big name flashy games. Just given the valuation versus some of the other stuff, honestly, I wouldn't be adding now. However, it's been in my portfolio at lower prices, and I still hold it. So the caveat there.
Cool.
That's not the one that I would be fishing for currently.
Chromia? I mean, I'm going to pass on Chromia.
I would skip.
Pass, me too. I don't even know why the researchers put it in here. Zy game. So interesting. It's a layer 3, it's a layer 2 on Arbitrum, which makes it a layer 3 on ETH. There was a lot of hype around Zy in the last run. What do you think about it for this run?
I think that Arbitrum Gaming is being slept on pretty hard, and I think XAI definitely leads the narrative there. And the dilution at first was a little rough, but it's kind of gotten a little healthier. There's going to be emissions to the node, like the node holders get tokens basically. But to me, I think XAI could heat up, and I think Arbitrum Gaming is pretty slept on. So I do like XAI, and if you look at that chart, it looks like a pretty decent position if you're going to prime yourself for a gaming run. I don't think it's a bad play. I would say yes. Okay,
so Hustle says yes. Hustle says yes over here. Ronin, what do you think of Ronin? I mean, gaming chain, NFT chain, if you want to call it that, launched by the makers of Axie. What do you make of Ronin?
Right now, there's only 2 lead candidates in the blockchain gaming space, like actual chains, and it's Ronin and Avalanche currently, just for what they've done and the mass adoption that they can handle. But the problem for me right now is Ronin moves super slow. Like, it's just such a stagnant token. Even when the market's gotten hot, it just moves slow. I think Ronin, if you're a gaming bull and you have 5-6 positions in gaming, it is a must-have. However, if you're just betting on 1 to 2 gaming coins this cycle, it wouldn't be the one that I would choose just because of the speed. So I think it's up to your risk tolerance and how many gaming coins you hold.
Let me help you with the next one, because I think we're both very bullish about Superverse. I just think that if gaming runs, Superverse is the one that runs, right?
Oh, yeah. I think that Superverse is going to have a great cycle this time around.
What about Prime? What about Echelon Prime? I know that there's been a lot of hype about Prime, and it's been one of the tokens that hasn't been that hard hit. Well, I mean, it's come down slightly, but it hasn't been that hard hit. What's your feelings around Prime?
I think this easily pushes back above all-time highs. And like the narrative here hasn't died down. They're about to dive in. Their AI game goes live Q1 2025. And AI, it's going to have that mixture of gaming and AI, which I think AI is going to be huge this cycle. Yeah, I'm still very bullish Prime. I still hold my initial position, and I think we're going to surpass all-time highs pretty easy.
What about Vulcan Forge, PYR? That was one of your top picks in the last cycle and been smashed since then. What do you think? Is this one coming back?
Yeah, it's tough. I was accumulating like $2.70 in the bear market. It got up to $10. We're now down back in those bear market levels. It's one that I would not be playing with now. If you have a long-term position that you bought at those lows, maybe you hold on to it for a little bit of a pump and you can exit, but that's not what I would be entering
what's the reason? Now. What's the reason why you're not bullish on it? Have they just not delivered? Have their games not delivered?
I wouldn't say that I'm not like extremely bullish on it. Like, I still think that Vulcan Forge is a solid project, but you mentioned it earlier in the show before I came on, the shiny object syndrome. There's just things that look much better on the outset. Stuff like Super, Beam, Ronin, they all are way flashier than something like a Vulcan Forge, and the games on the platform are just simply better.
All right, let's talk about Uncaged and Nakamoto games. Yes or no?
For me, I'm just not high on a lot of Solana games currently. So I'm only really betting on like Star Atlas at this point in time. So for me, I would pass Uncaged. I think it can pump, and it recently did. But Naka, I do like personally. I think Naka, if the Telegram narrative comes back, they front ran this narrative by years. They've been in the Telegram gaming space for a long time. So I do like Naka.
So look, I'm not mad on buying individual games, because I think that if you don't get the right game. I'd rather be invested in infrastructure. But if you go down, and there are some people who are going to go down to a gaming level. Let's go through the games here. So you got Big Time, 9 Heroes, Crown, 𝗙𝗧𝗎𝗪𝗧, Forgotten Playland, and then we can talk about launch pools like 𝗙𝗧𝗧. In fact, let's wait for that. So Big Time, would you be buying Big Time?
I think that it has a better chance to pump than most other gaming coins. I think that the narrative behind it is not great, but I think you can probably catch pretty good upside from it. I think you could still, yeah, you could.
What about 9 Heroes, small market cap, $13 million market cap? Yes or no?
This is an example of a gaming token that doesn't have a lot of supply into the market yet. And I know you've mentioned also on your shows in the past, there probably will be a time period where these low circulating supply coins fly just because of the fact that there's not that much supply on the market. 9 Heroes is a pretty good game. I like it, but it's definitely a riskier play.
Okay, so let's say not now, or riskier.
Yeah.
Okay, Crown. This is my favorite one. I mean, just because I love the horses. But what do you think? I mean, would you be buying Crown?
Yeah, absolutely. I still hold Crown.
I also love Crown.
I like games that make revenue. This game makes revenue.
What about Mavia and Forgotten Playland?
I think Mavia will pump. I think that the narrative there has definitely simmered down. The metrics, the flashiness of the amount of users that they said they got initially, it's definitely died down. I think it's probably going to pump similarly to Big Time. So, like, I don't love it, but I think it's a coin that's probably going to move pretty hard if the overall gaming market does.
Okay, cool. And then Forgotten Playland?
I know the chart is so beat down and you almost just want to nibble at it because it's one of the worst charts in crypto. Like, that thing is down tremendously. I would lay off. It's just one I would not. It's built on Beam, and I know the game's actually cool. I've seen it. I've played around with it, but yeah, I wouldn't be touching the token.
Okay, lastly, 𝗙𝗧𝗧. I mean, I know we're like, I know when gaming runs, 𝗙𝗧𝗧 is usually the proxy for gaming runs, 𝗙𝗧𝗧 runs the hardest. Gaming dumps, 𝗙𝗧𝗧 dumps the worst. What do you think, like, of the narrative of gaming launchpads and launchpads for gaming projects?
So launchpads have really having to change their business model this cycle because
there's no
early launches the last 6 months have just been terrible. There's no profit, especially in launches, but they're kind of flipping the script a little bit and they're doing like low market cap launches, changing up the vesting schedules, all this stuff. Personally, I like 𝗙𝗧𝗧. Like you said, it's a leverage play on gaming. I still am bullish on 𝗙𝗧𝗧, and they're coming out with their game Seed World. I think you could bet on 𝗙𝗧𝗧 this cycle and probably definitely make out all right.
All right, brother. Listen, much love, guys. Remember, Hustle broadcasts almost every single day on the In the Game channel, which is our gaming channel. There's a link below. Go and check it out. Hustle, much love, bro. It's so good to know we can call on you whenever there's a gaming narrative, and that you bring like the real. I mean, I think you're the best gaming guy, and because you're actually a gamer at heart, and you're a crypto guy second, which is very different from everybody else. So much love, my brother.
Appreciate you, Rand. Have a great rest of your show.
So that's Hustle, and I love bringing him in to do it. And you saw which tokens he actually likes. Just before we go, I just want to mention a couple of things. Number one, I know you guys, or some of you, got involved in the 𝗙𝗔𝗔 airdrop, right? I don't know how many of you guys did it, but remember at the time I kept saying to you guys, go and use 𝗙𝗔𝗔, go and use 𝗙𝗔𝗔. And the reason why I want you to use 𝗙𝗔𝗔 is because A, it's the best bridge that is actually out there, but B, there was an airdrop. And so now the token starts trading, I think in 2 days or so. Looks like the guys that were involved in the airdrop are actually going to do very, very well. The good news is that there is the airdrop level 2, like the next airdrop. All you need to do is go and use this link over here and transfer money from any, like if you want to move money from ETH to, see, I've got a whole lot of ETH here. Tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to transfer ETH to you guys, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to move ETH off the ETH network, and you can receive any token pretty much on any network in a matter of seconds. Now, go and do it and start using this as your bridge, because if you do, you increase your chances. Now, a lot of people made a lot of money or are going to make a lot of money from this 𝗙𝗔𝗔 thing. And so I recommend that you do it as well. Let's quickly check on our trades. Hold on. So I think, so I've got 3 positions. I am short 𝗙𝗢𝗪, I'm long Aptos, and I am long Say. Here is the trade. The other trade that I want to take is I want to buy some Beam. So let's quickly just look at Beam. This is all for the ByBit trading competition. And why? I'm taking a bet here that the crypto gaming narrative is going to run. That's all this is about. So I'm going to go here and I'm quickly going to buy $10,000 worth of this. There we go. That's good for me. There we go. Cool. So those are the trades that I've taken in the ByBit trading competition. Join the team. Join us. Let's try and win. There's $10 million up for grabs. It's not too late to join. Otherwise, I shall see you guys again tomorrow. I love doing shows in the bull market. Let's just quickly look at where we are with Bitcoin. Whoa, look at this. October is very much underway with that Chinese announcement of the printing of lots of money. I mean, look at this. We're talking 6 trillion yuan in treasury bonds. Now, let's go to Google and say, how much is 6 trillion yuan in USD? Oh, come on, Google. Huh? But why can't it just answer the question? How much is 6? Oh, maybe it doesn't understand trillion. You think it's that dumb? Trillion. Maybe it's such a big number. Yeah, it's $850 billion being printed by China. That's what sent us up. So listen, guys, October in full force, full force, which means that we'll be back here, bringing you another exciting bull market show tomorrow. Now remember, if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. Someone says, Google is not ChatGPT. You're right, bro. I should have used ChatGPT. I should have bought ChatGPT. Did I just pump Beam? No, come on, man. I took such a small position. Hold on. Tell me it's not true. Man, I took a tiny position. It wasn't even me. Oh, you mean from here? No, that wasn't me. That was much earlier. Yeah. Okay. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Another bull market show tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.